In this section, we'll examine the roles TikTok and Gen Z played in influencing the outcome of a recent political rally. What is TikTok? Here's a brief history. In November 2017, Chinese tech company ByteDance acquired the US short-form video app known as Musical.ly and merged it with its own equivalent app, TikTok. This new app was used to create short videos, about 15 seconds in length, that focused on dance, comedy, lip sync, and talent-oriented videos. TikTok is the fastest growing social media platform ever. It has been downloaded over 8 billion times worldwide and 85 million times in the United States. Over 60% of TikTok users are Gen Zers or Zoomers. Why Gen Z? Well, understanding relationships between people and platforms helps predict what to expect of a generation. Where millennials fueled Facebook and Instagram, Gen Z fuels TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram as well. A defining characteristic of Gen Z is their expression of individual truth. As we mentioned earlier, they are cloud natives who are very comfortable consuming and creating content in rich video formats. TikTok appeals directly to that, as it offers a straightforward visual user experience that appeals to Gen Z's 8-second attention span. And as you can see here, TikTok primarily appeals to the younger members of Gen Z, primarily ages 13 to 21. Okay, so what happened in Tulsa? Here's a brief overview. Mary Jo Lopp, pictured here, was moved by recent posts on TikTok by black users who were frustrated over President Trump's plans to hold a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Juneteenth, which is June 19th, a day in honor of the emancipation of slaves in the United States. Lopp made a call to action on TikTok by asking people to reserve tickets to the rally but then not attend. In her words, she wanted to leave him there alone on the stage. Lopp's TikTok video received over 700,000 likes and over 2 million views. Teen TikTok users and K-pop fans took Lopp's plea seriously, and they figured out how to request tickets and keep the ploy secret online. Despite Trump's campaigns claiming that over 1 million tickets were requested, the Tulsa fire marshal stated that only 6,200 tickets were scanned, not including staff, media, and those attending in box suites. This event was not isolated to TikTok. In fact, it used other platforms as well, including Instagram and Snapchat. In Lopp's words, "There are teenagers in this country who participated in this little no-show protest, who believe that they can have an impact in their country in the political system, even though they are not old enough to vote yet right now." So what's happened since then? Well, shortly after the Tulsa rally, the Trump campaign replaced Brad Parscale as campaign manager, and Lopp was recruited by the Biden Digital Coalition to put her social media skills to use for the Biden campaign. It's important to note that Mary Jo Lopp is not the typical TikTok user. She's 51 years old. She's married to a minister. She has 4 children, 6 grandchildren. She works in the high school music department in Fort Dodge, Iowa. She was raised conservative Christian, but has become liberal over time, and she just started using TikTok in May 2020. She is now known as Grandma TikTok. Even though this section was titled Gen Z, or focused on Gen Z, It actually involved multiple generations, from the baby boomers right on down through Gen Z. And it involved several social media platforms, as mentioned earlier. This was truly a diverse socio-technological event. What have we learned? On this slide here, I tried to communicate in a nutshell what we've learned about the various generations we've studied today and their technology preferences and their social media usages and preferences. From an overall view, we're really not all that different from one another. All of us use multiple devices. We all use almost the same types of social media platforms. But as we look from old to young, there is an emphasis on multi-channel communications as we go to the younger generations, mobile platforms, and social media platforms that are geared for rich visual content delivered in bite-sized chunks. Now, I intentionally put Gen X in the middle here. I found a very interesting article in Intercom that kind of described Gen X as a bridge generation between old and young. And when we reconvene at Spectrum, I will talk about my findings in that article more then. So remember those questions I asked you to consider when we started today's presentation? Let's revisit them now. How similar or different are we from one generation to the next regarding communication and technology? I sort of answered that, but I'm sure we can go deeper into that. How accurately did I portray your generation? And the final question, do you work with members of other generations? Do you create content for one or more generations? Did this presentation help you better understand the differences and recognize the similarities? Did it help you understand how to work through and resolve generational issues and concerns regarding technology and communication? Maybe. This was kind of a tip of the iceberg presentation. So what can we as technical communicators do? Do we need to become experts in all of these new and emerging technologies? Well, maybe. It can't hurt to read up on them and learn about them. But I guess it really depends on who your target audience is, the company you work for, and the technology you're writing about. But one thing that we can do is make use of adult learning styles, including visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. Let's take a quick look at each one of these and see how they can apply across generations. We're all visual learners, so things like videos, visuals, including pictures and infographics, will reach all of the generations. Older generations might be more drawn to static infographics and visuals, whereas younger generations might be more drawn to dynamic and interactive visuals and infographics. Auditory. As we learned earlier, the silent generation and baby boomers prefer in-person and over-the-phone communication, and we also learned that millennials prefer to consume their content via podcasts. So podcasts would be a great way to present information to multiple generations. And then if you combine video with narration, you're hitting on one of the key emerging technologies that we talked about earlier, video and visual. Read-write. Older generations might be more geared to read step-by-step instructions, and that's fine. The younger generations might too, but to attract them, you might want to make them interactive or visual, especially for the Gen Zers and their 8-second attention span. Kinesthetic. This means hands-on. This could apply to any generation. You could combine audio with video to attract all the generations, and if you create interactive you try type interactions, you might be able to attract the younger generations. There are many examples of such things like this on YouTube. Thank you very much for spending some time with me and talking about generations and technology. I hope you gained something out of it. At the discussion session at Spectrum, we'll review the highlights of this topic. We'll discuss some related findings from articles published in Intercom, and we'll work together on identifying the next generation on the horizon, Generation Alpha. What will they be like based on what we learned in this topic? Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for attending, and I look forward to seeing you at Spectrum. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can tweet me at RightGuyInc. And you can go to my blog at rightguyinc.wordpress.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you at the discussion at Spectrum.